Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to continue my series regarding some of the questions that I asked prior to me leaving the Jehovah's Witness organization. So a question I asked early on was regarding the reporting of our ministry hours. I will say prior to me leaving the Jehovah's Witness organization, they had reduced the hours, the minimum amount of hours to 15 minutes or 15-minute increments, which was good. However, early on, I had the question, if we're serving Jehovah from our heart, why are we recording our or reporting the time that we serve Him? Um, and I was told, I was given a response. I was told that's just a way that the organization, the governing bodies, keep everyone encouraged. Um, okay, I can understand that. But I had an issue once I noticed that in my experience with the elders in my congregations, the congregations that I attended, they were equating my spiritual health with the amount of service time or amount of time that I placed in the ministry. So at one time the minimum was 10 hours. So that was the baseline, so to speak, to have 10 hours. But because me and my schedule, I couldn't always I couldn't always go in the ministry for 10 hours per month. And so my hours were low. But I had the feeling that the elders, they looked upon, they based my spirituality on the amount of time that I spent in the ministry, and they equated to that with being with they equated that with my spiritual health. So if my time is low in the ministry, they looked at me as being spiritually weak. But however, if I was a pioneer or auxiliary pioneer, I was spiritually, I was spiritually minded. And that's not the case. It depends on your circumstances, how much time you can devote into the ministry. We have a number of uh, people in the organization. I'm about to say friends, but they no longer my friends, or I no longer consider them my friends. But we have people in the congregation who didn't work. They didn't have to work. They didn't have a family that they had to care for, so they can devote more time in the ministry, or just their schedule allowed them to spend as much time in the ministry to give the pioneer hours, and that's fine. But for the persons who schedule and lifestyle did not allow them, including myself, to put 50, 70, 90 hours per month in the ministry, we were typecast, or I'm gonna say I was typecast in the sense of not being spiritually minded, because I'm in my mind it's because they were looking at the amount of time I was spending in the ministry. And it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot of time, but I gave my best. At the time, I gave my best to Jehovah. And I thought that was the entire purpose of going to the meetings and serving Jehovah and going out into the ministry and preparing for the ministry and preparing for the meetings, was with showing that it's giving our best or my best to Jehovah. But but I came to realize that man sees what's on the outside and God sees what's on the inside. So it came upon a time where I began fidgeting my ministry hours because I didn't want to look like a loser or as if I wasn't good enough. And I felt that pressure. My schedule, I was still in the same, I still had my same lifestyle. My schedule didn't change. So at a point in time, I will always I will report 10 hours a minimum that I've done in the ministry, whether I did 10 hours or not, because of the pressure that I felt as if I was feeling like I wasn't good enough. And I know that's me and that's my feelings. But peer pressure is something, it's a true feeling. And so yeah, I asked the question about why are we reporting time, because I felt as if the time that I was giving and devoting to Jehovah was not good enough. And I got that, and that was the perception I received, and that was through some of the conversations or some of the mentions of some of the elders. Um, I think I mentioned before one of my other videos is that I was told that I was worldly. So it made me feel like, in a sense, that I wasn't good enough. uh, Whatever I was doing, how big or small it was, it still wasn't good enough in their eyes. Not in Jehovah's eyes, but I'm saying in their eyes, meaning man's eyes. And I had enough. I had enough. It didn't make, I didn't like that whole thing with recording your time, reporting my time, and you're equating that to my spiritual health. So that was a question I asked. I did receive a response. That in a way, reporting the time is to provide encouragement to the worldwide organization. Okay. Another question I had was regarding the book of Revelation. I'm not gonna go into that, but that's a whole nother that's a whole nother beast. The book of Revelation in 607 BCE. I question, how did they get to that number, or to that date? I should say that date. How are they getting to their dates? And although in some of their books or their past books they try to explain the timeline, I just didn't understand. And I know for sure, for certain, that I wasn't the only one. I recall as a kid when we used to go to the book study, and our book study was held at the Kingdom Hall. I remember my mom, she was questioning or had questions regarding the book of Revelation. We were going through that book, and she was asking questions regarding the time frames as well. And the brother, the elder, the book study conductor, he was trying his best to explain it. And he got frustrated because after one person asks a question, another person will always follow up with a question or something similar to the question that was just asked. And he couldn't answer the question. And he just told everyone in the book study, you have to trust the governing body. Of course, that doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. And when I started studying on my own with the sister after I became an adult, we went through that, and that still didn't make sense to me. How are they calculating the dates and time ranges? How are they coming up with this? If it's a mathematical system that they're using, that should be explained. They should be able to explain that. And I just didn't understand that. I didn't understand about that, and some things. And I will say this. I will say this on a serious note, a more serious note. Uh, I understand that some things can't be explained at the time. I understand that concept. But if someone or multiple persons was able to understand the concept, it should be explained, or it can be explained. So I would say that. Um, yeah, I still do not understand 607, that whole ideology there. I still don't understand. But now I'm out of the organization. I have, some people have asked me in some of the comments, do I still believe in God or religion itself? I am a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. I will be honest with you guys, and I might be a little on the drama side as well, but I have been traumatized by some of my experiences within the organization. I have tried, after leaving the organization, I have tried to attend other religious organizations, but at this time, I'm just not ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, but I know that my heart is my heart condition. I know that God, I believe that He reads my heart, He reads our hearts, and He knows our intentions. So I will leave it like that. But to answer someone's questions about my spirituality now, yes, I do believe in God. I do believe in God. I do not believe in religion. And that may change. Who knows? It may change. I might, my heart may become softened as time go on. But right now, I'm still on this recovery journey. So that's all I have for today, you guys. Until next time, take care.